Hey, everybody, Rory McDonald from Macdon and Associates coming to you with the next episode, Tuesdays with Rory. It is November, just past October. We got the 15th rolling in, and I thought, what better time? Election's finally over. You're not getting all those text messages while you're out in the woods. We need to jump in and we need to talk through some hunting. So I have a good buddy here in the studio today. His name is Colton Orr. And man, I'm really excited to share with you guys what it is that he does, his background, his heart for just wildlife and taking his kids into the woods as much as he can. I'm really excited for you guys to be tuning into this one. So very pumped. Here we go. Tuesdays with Rory. Colton, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you're all about, man.
That was actually a really good introduction.
You like that?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I practice a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, my name's Colton Orr. I grew up in Detroit metro area. I grew up in Fraser, Sterling Heights. Went to Sterling Heights, Stevenson. Long time ago now, 2008 is when I graduated. And I was actually thinking about this. I've known you, I think, since 2009.
Yeah.
Met at Kensington. So, I mean, we're coming up on 15 years, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I live in Rochester now, have 3 kids, been married for 11 years, and life is good, man. But this is definitely my favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
Because of what you said earlier. I mean, I don't know, nothing beats Michigan fall, you know? I mean, you got the leaves changing, you got football starting, which is cool for Detroiters right now.
Yeah.
The last couple of years have been pretty sweet for us, and then obviously hunting as well. So
Yeah.
I'm an avid outdoorsman and have been doing it since I was 18 years old. I have a grandfather my grandfather passed away, but he was very into hunting. And when I was, 18, 19 years old, I wanted to get into it. And one of my best friends is also super into it. So it's interesting. I think hunting is one of those things that needs to be passed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't think a guy just starts hunting by himself.
Yeah.
It's usually like passed on from another man. And I don't know if you have ever read Wild at Heart,
Yeah.
John Aldridge, but he talks about that there's just certain things that men do and they pass it on. And so, yeah, my grandfather passed it on to me. He gave me my first gun. And actually I have a funny story about that.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Yeah.
All right. So I think I might've been 19. It was 18 or 19. I started hunting. I think it was 19 actually, because I was dating a girl at the time, just turned 19. I was like, why don't we go over to Windsor and have a drink? Because, you could drink in Canada.
Yeah.
And have a drink at 19. And the day before, my grandfather gave me a gun, and I put
Did you leave it in your car?
I put it in my trunk. First gun, didn't get a lot of instructions, but put it in my trunk. Next day is my birthday, and I was like, all right, let's go to Windsor and have a drink. And so we're on the Ambassador Bridge in line, coming up to the customs booth, and we're literally in the next car. We had been waiting for 15 minutes, and I just yell out, shoot. I didn't say shoot though.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, there's a gun in the trunk.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to tell him. I got to tell the customs officer that there's a gun in the trunk. Because, first of all, if I lie and they pull me over and I get a random inspection, it's going to be way worse for me.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we're up next. She's like, what are you doing here? The Customs Border Patrol officer. She's like, what are you coming to Canada for? And I said, we're just coming here to grab a drink. It's my birthday today. And then she got to the question I was dreading. Do you have any drugs or weapons in the vehicle? And I said, there is a shotgun in my trunk.
Yeah.
She pulled over, sir. So these customs officers, she passes me on to 2 other customs officers, and they just start grilling me.
Yeah.
Just calling me all kinds of names. You stupid, beep, beep, beep. You know, just insulting me left and right. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just as a 19-year-old kid, you don't have a ton of self-control.
Sure.
I'm pretty proud of myself in that moment, because I was just like, you're right. That was really stupid. I'm really dumb.
Yeah.
So they like put my girlfriend and I in a holding room,
Sure.
and then they come back like 10, 15 minutes later, and they were like, "Hey, we're really sorry we talked to you like that. We just wanted to see if you were criminally minded, and
Yeah.
like, we're trying to get a reaction out of you, but we can't let you into the country."
Yeah. Wow.
So
Makes sense.
I'm very careful about guns now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I would share that story
Yeah.
just because you're talking about how I got into hunting. But my other grandfather had a farm in Marlette, Michigan, which is, straight up M53.
Yep.
He owned 40 acres there. And so I started hunting there, and shot my first deer there. And I was hooked, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. Um, but he ended up selling his farm a couple of years after that. And, it's interesting. It's one of those things where, um, in those moments, it feels really sad,
Yeah.
and you can feel angry about something. And I felt all that. I felt sad. I felt angry. I was like, where am I going to hunt now?
Yeah.
But it opened the door for a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Public land hunting and also urban hunting as well.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's kind of where it all started, though.
I love it, man. I love it. So that is so funny. So for those of you who don't know, most of you who are watching this probably know this, but you cannot cross into another country with weapons unless there's like it's a felony, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thankful you're sitting here.
Me too. The U.S. gave me a hard time about coming back.
Oh, really?
The officers there. And I'm like, guys, like, come on. Like, I'm a U.S. citizen. This is a mistake.
Yeah.
But they were kind of giving me a hard time about it too. And I was
wow.
Like, so
that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
So I'm a big hunter. I absolutely love hunting. I'm a big, this past year I've gotten into, duck hunting a little bit more.
Yep.
I've got a backyard that backs up to a bunch of corn. So we try and goose hunt out there. Like there's little things that, you get into one and then you start getting into all of them, or you're like, all right, I'm hunting with a gun. Now I'm hunting with a bow, or like there's just a progression that ends up happening. But one of the things I was going to say is what you said, 100% true, man. Like I have a good buddy. His name is Scott D'Angelo. He's the one who got me into hunting. I grew up without my pops around. It's just, it is what it is, man. I didn't have a guy to kind of help me, point me in a direction as to what to even get to shoot. Like, what do I do?
Yep.
And so, yeah, you end up finding people you run with and you ask questions. You'd be surprised how much this community, the hunting community, whether it's in an urban area or a more rural area, or duck hunting or gun hunting or deer hunting or whatever it is, how much this community is open to people wanting to get into it.
Yeah.
Which is just super cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah. So that is the thing that I really love about it, for sure.
But it's also like very intimidating.
Oh yeah.
To try to do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Like if you're just going to try to buy a gun or like buy a bow and you don't know what you're doing and you just like go out there by yourself, I can see it being very intimidating, and not a lot of guys like want to do that. It's cool how God created us to just like pass it on, with community.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's one of those things too, once you get into it, you're like, I cannot wait for my son to get into this, or my daughter to get in it. Like, I can't wait until that to happen. Cause I mean, there is no high like a buck fever, dude. There is nothing like it. Like the shaking in the tree stand, trying to grab your phone and call your wife. Like, dude, it is so real and so different than anything anybody has ever experienced. And like for someone to feel that for the first time and be able to watch it too is like, dude, it's the best.
Yeah, it really is cool. It is awesome.
It is the best. So your family, they had this property in Marlette, you said, sold that property, which kind of opened up a whole bunch of new doors for you that you in a lot of ways had to literally knock down. Not knock down, knock on. But explain that too, because just to give everybody quick background, the reason why I had Colton come on here and the reason why I wanted to chat with him is, first and foremost, he's a good friend of mine. He's one of my hunting buddies that like I call up and I go, dude, hey, listen to this. What should I do? Asking questions, but then also just, hey man, shot 2 does over the weekend. Like super exciting. Like that's having that kind of community is fun. It's like calling your buddy who you just golfed with and go, hey man, I got, dude, eagle on, on a par 4 or whatever it is. Like it's exciting. It's fun. So that's part of the reason. But then on top of that, one of the things over the last couple of years that you've started doing is this YouTube channel, which is you hunting. But it's not just you hunting, at your uncle's farm. It's in an urban environment where you can only bow hunt, and you've got to be very strategic in how you go about every single detail of being able to hunt. So
100%.
yeah. So first and foremost, explain to me what made you go, hey, I need to, like, urban hunting is the route that I'm going to lean more into versus going up and knocking on some farmer's door where I can hunt there.
Yeah, for sure. So after my grandfather sold the farm in Marlette, you know, you know, one door closes, another one opens. Literally, I just started, door knocking, and just started checking out Onyx, which is an application that you can use to find out information about property,
Yeah.
whether it's public property or private property. It will give you.
Which I'm going to touch on this for you real estate agents out there. Onyx is the best app when it comes to those questions that your clients ask you. Hey, can you show me the property lines? Can you show me, hey, what's the owner's name? What do they do? Is that a farm, or is that publicly owned? Is it privately owned? All of those questions that your clients ask you, there is not a better app. And I don't sell this. I'm not sponsored by them, anything like that. I have it for hunting, but it is worth every penny that I spend on it, even if I wasn't hunting, just for being able to use it, be able to instruct my clients in a way that's showing them the actual property lines. So
Yep.
quick little sidebar thing there.
Yep. So I just started door knocking, and I also thought, what, let's utilize this time to look at places that are closer. And at the time, I was living in Madison Heights, um, and I think I probably had my second kid at that time as well. I think he was probably just born, and I said, let's kind of utilize this time to try to find properties that are closer. So I'm not driving, an hour and 20, an hour and a half one way.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a family man, you're trying to balance all of this when, you're trying to be a good dad or trying to be a good husband, but you also have your passions and your hobbies as well. So I ended up reaching out to a gentleman who owned, 50 or 60 acres in Chesterfield, and got permission from him to hunt on the property, which was really exciting. It was like the first time that I ever reached out to somebody and had asked for permission.
Mm-hmm.
And what he didn't tell me was there was also guys that he gave permission to hunt as well, and ended up being a really awesome guy and really easy to work with. And one of the other guys who had permission, we just started creating a relationship. And one day he told me, "Hey, I just found out that you can bow hunt in a city close by to us, in Clinton Township."
Yeah.
And I started looking into it, and I was like, no way, you can't hunt in Clinton Township.
Yeah.
So I think this is like 2017, 2018. Seek One wasn't around, and Seek One is like a really large YouTube, YouTube channel. They only do urban hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't around, and I started looking into it, and I got really excited. Started verifying that it was, in fact true. And so I just got to work. I started, looking up properties, started looking up property owners, and started asking for permission. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, they say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, they're just going to say no to you. But there was this one particular person who owned 4 acres, and they said no to me. And I just said, hey, are you interested in selling the property at all? And they said yes. And it's off the river, so it's like in a flood zone.
Yeah.
And so
this is the property down the road.
Yeah, it's the property down the road.
Yeah.
And I said, how much? And they said 10 grand. And I was like, holy smokes, 10 grand, like 4 acres. That would be amazing. And I was like, Rachel, please, please. I mean, like, obviously this isn't going away. I'm going to want to do this every single year. This is, 20 minutes from our house. So I can be in and out, like, hunting, and it won't take up a ton of time. And she was like, no way, we can't do that. You can't just like spend 10 grand on a piece of property that you can't build on or anything like that. So I I relented, and a year goes by and they call me back and they said, hey, this was our dad's property. He passed away. It was always his dream to build a house here. We can't build a house here. And we're sick of paying taxes on it. Do you want to buy it? And I said, yeah. And I said, how much? And they said, you name a price. And I was
Wow.
like, how about $3,000?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. So like God just gave me this property.
Yeah.
And that's where my like urban hunting journey kind of began. So it's awesome, man.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was 2018.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. That's wild.
I know.
To give you guys a quick idea, like I'm in Clinton Township. That's where our studio is located, where my office is located. And it's like, there's traffic around, there's cars, and you hear the semi trucks, I'm sure, in your tree stand.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, like if you look at my hunt from last year, you can hear cars like the whole time.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. But pulled some good deer off of there. Had fun doing it, being able to bring your kids out and stuff too. I'm sure like there's a lot of really awesome things that come from that, especially being local and being close to home, that really really make things a little bit more enjoyable in a lot of ways. Like the drive to a hunting spot with your kids is one thing. Like then you get there and you're hunting, and then they're tired on the way home and all these other things. But you feel the exact same things as your kids when you're doing that stuff too. What made you decide, you know what, I'm gonna take what it is that I'm doing, and I'm not just going to go out into these areas and hunt, but I'm also gonna film myself doing it?
I think for a couple of years, I think Rachel was like encouraging me to do it, and just like, hey, why don't you just like start filming it? And like, and last year I was like, all right, like let me just kind of go for it. And it's fun. Like I had no background like whatsoever in, filming or like, editing. And so I got all the camera gear, I got all the stuff, and I just started doing it. There was a guy named Anthony who lived in our apartment complex just before, we bought our home. And one day he saw me. I had my kid's wagon, and I had in it I had my target and my bow, and it was probably like August or September.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, are you into hunting? And I'm like, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we became friends. And all that to say, I asked him to go hunting with me last year. I was like, hey, I'm going to try to film. I got permission on this piece of property recently, and there's a buck in the area. And do you want to go hunting? And he's like, yeah, like I'd love to. And so I took him out, and he ended up shooting like this really beautiful 8-point. And that was the first one I've ever captured.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got home that night, Rachel was like, hey, did you like feel any sort of jealousy or anything about like that he was the one that shot the deer? And I was like, honestly, no. I was like, that was one of the most coolest experiences I've ever had in my life, because I've never been with somebody as they like shot a deer.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about earlier, it's so cool to be able to share something with someone.
Yeah.
And I after I've shot something, I like call people and stuff like that. And, you're sharing it with them that way, but to like actually be with them, and not only be with them, but actually like capture it. It was crazy. It was awesome. And I was hooked. And I was like, why would I not capture this? It's so cool to be able to not just like tell somebody, but like, hey, let me show you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I'm thankful that you're doing it, because you came with me on my turkey hunt too.
Yeah.
Which was the best turkey hunting I've ever done.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome.
I'm just glad it was caught on film, because I truthfully do not believe that people would believe me.
Yeah. Like that was so cool. I mean, literally opening day, first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Tagged, you know.
I wish you would have shot that other bird though.
I wish I would have shot the other bird. I also wish I would have been on the right turkey, because I was filming the wrong turkey when you shot it. But you know what? Like you can like beat yourself up about, those situations. Cause like my first 3 hunts that I filmed, I actually didn't get the kill shot
Okay.
for the first 3. And you can beat yourself up about it, but I never did. Like, I was like, you know what? Like, this is just part of it.
Yeah.
Like, this is part of the journey. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, man. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I just got to figure it out, but you gotta start somewhere.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but this year I finally got the kill shot.
You sure did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to show you guys really quick, I figured out how to do this recently. So I'm going to pull that up really quick. Let me see if I can. Oh, there it is. So this is Colton's hunt. Let me turn it around, bring it a little closer to you. So this is him in his tree hunting. And man, I've watched this like 2 or 3 times. What a freaking cool video.
So bye.
Yeah. What a cool video though. What was like, how long, what was the process with this particular buck that you shot? First of all, don't go too deep into the details as to where, but where were you when you shot this buck, just to give people an idea?
Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying. My wife doesn't even know where I was. No, but so I actually explained this in the video, but it started last October. I was at my son's soccer practice, and there's a field across the street, and it was October, and I saw a beautiful 10-point like walk out into the field. And as an urban hunter, I'm like, the wheels start turning. I'm like, I wonder if you can hunt here. So I started doing some research, and I found out that the particular city that I saw the buck in that you can't hunt, but the city that it borders, you can.
Okay.
And so it's like, okay, there's some big bucks in the area. I then set up like a mile kind of radius, and then it came down to a particular neighborhood and street where I was just like, okay, this is where I'm going to focus on. So in the spring,
I'm pausing it. You're coming up to your shot here. I'm going to pause it.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
In the spring, 4 or 5 months later, I reached out to the chief of police of this city. I sent him an email and said, look, at like all of my research shows me that I can bow hunt in your city. I've called the department. I've talked to one of the police officers on your staff, and he also confirmed that you can bow hunt in the area, but I just need to hear from you too.
Yeah.
Cause like, I don't know. I just want to you just got to make sure all your boxes are checked in these situations, especially if you're shooting a deer that gets a lot of attention.
Right.
Like I want everything to be squeaky clean. So, sure enough, like a few days later, he emails me back and says, yes, you can bow hunt. I am confirming that. Just got to follow all DNR regulations.
Yep.
And he just provided some advice or whatever. But you asked kind of where it all started. And I started thinking, okay, like I actually have an email from the chief of police from this city. Like I'm going to start printing this off. And when I walk up and start door knocking, I have 3 documents like ready to go. So I'm like, here is a letter from the chief of police of your city confirming that bow hunting is legal. Here is my certificate of liability insurance. It's worth $2 million. This is just for hunting, so there's no liability worry on your end. And here's my waiver.
Yeah.
Can I hunt on your property?
Sure.
And like that actually started really helping me. Like I said, 9 times out of 10 people are going to say no, but a lot of people ended up started saying yes, and I was like, this is awesome. So I got one in the spring. I got permission in the spring, and then I got another one in the summer, and then like literally the day before October 1st, I got permission from like a really key parcel, and they said yes. That particular one was fun because it was a large real estate like development company in Bloomfield, right off of Woodward. And I walked in there with my documents, wearing a suit, and like, who is this guy? And can I please speak to the CEO? And he said yes.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's cool. Well, I'm gonna show this video here in a second, but before I do that, I wanted to say, and we're gonna get into this a little bit more after we see your buck go down.
Okay.
If there is, and I'm speaking to people out there who are business owners, you're in school, you're trying to find a job, you're trying to get into a school. Like if there is something that you want out there, you can absolutely get it. You just have to knock on enough doors, talk to enough people, call enough phone numbers, email enough people, and have enough, honestly, like tenacity to be willing to go and do it, whether it's hunting or gosh, finding your next business, finding your next job, finding the next school that you want to go to, whatever it is. You can absolutely accomplish the things that you're trying to accomplish if you have just the willingness to do the things that it takes to do it. And dude, this is like, if anything, that's a perfect example of that, man. Like you're not just knocking on doors, but you started knocking on doors. We're getting a lot of no's. And then you went, okay, what is it that's going to strengthen my ability to have a conversation with somebody to get them to, at the very least, think about this?
For sure.
You know, and push them over the edge. And now, like, I mean, in general right now, and you don't have to go super in depth with it, but you went from the property that you had up in Marlette with your family to your property in Clinton Township as well, like 4 acres, 5 acres.
Yep.
5 acres in Clinton Township that you can still hunt. You still have it, right? And now you've got property in you mentioned Bloomfield, you mentioned Chesterfield, like all these other places. If you had to like tally up right now, you want to go hunting, where do I want to go depending on what the wind's doing, or you know how cold it is, or if it's a night hunt or a morning hunt, or all those different things. How much property do you have at this moment that you're like, I can go hunting?
I'm at like 30 plus properties in Macomb and Oakland County.
30 plus.
Yeah.
30 plus properties.
Yeah.
And of those properties, if you were to tally up the acreage that Colton Orr and his family has the ability to go hunt now, how much would you say that is?
So I actually have a spreadsheet.
I believe that.
Yeah. So, well, it's cool because you're talking about like, I don't know, you talk about this can be related to business. Like I took everything I've learned from corporate America, and I mean, it's all data driven, right? Like,
yeah.
So I took everything I learned from corporate America, created a spreadsheet, have, name, contact information, coordinates, acreage amount, city, etc. And then, at the end, there's a checkbox. There's a radio button, and you select permission granted, denied, or reached out to. And I have a notes section as well. But I am close to answer your original question, I'm close to, I think, around 200 acres.
Wow.
Which doesn't sound massive, but like,
no, dude, that's
urban
huge.
hunting.
That's huge.
Like urban hunting, that's massive.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm working on an acre parcel. I'm hunting on just an acre. But it is pretty awesome. My favorite is reaching out to like a CEO.
Yeah.
Like you're thinking, okay, like you're tempted to think this guy's not going to give me the time of day. This person's like, not like, they're not going to give me the time of day. But like being able to work past that mentally in my own head and then be able to like present myself to them. And then if they say yes, there's like nothing more rewarding.
Sure.
Besides killing a buck like that.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, to me, like that has become like the icing on the cake because it's a part of it for me now. Like it's so much fun to be able to reach out to a stranger and create enough trust for them to say yes, like you can come on my property with a weapon.
Yeah.
It's wild. It really is.
There's no better sales techniques, which we'll get into that here in a minute, and just kind of all the stuff that you actually did.
Yeah.
To put yourself in the position that you're in now, right? Like,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. But let's bring this up, dude. Let's show your buck going down. Give us some details too about this. What we're showing this. Do you want to see it? Want to watch it again?
Yeah, sure.
We're off camera, so it's just the.
Oh, okay.
It's just this right now, but give some details about this situation in particular, this deer, all that stuff, if you can.
Yeah. So, I mean, hunting is a lot about the tools that you have as well. And I have cellular cameras out on parcels that I've got permission at. And so I got a notification this morning. This particular morning.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold that thought.
Okay.
You know the exact minute when it goes?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, we're about to find it out.
Okay. Somebody commented on the video and said that my draw length is 2 inches long. So thank
Oh,
you.
really? Yeah. About 32. Yeah, I'm going to mute us. Let's just listen to this. You guys can tell why we're pretty excited right now. If you saw that that deer, that was a monster, dude. What did he measure out to?
As far as weight goes, or
Weight,
antlers?
Antlers, all the fun.
So
well, it says 170 on here.
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah. So he measured out, for as far as antlers go, 169 inches and 1/8. So
okay, so
like
technically not 170.
Technically not 170, but
kidding.
For marketing purposes, 170.
Sure. Yeah, I hear you.
I've always been a roundup guy, you know. So
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as weight goes, I didn't weigh him, but I mean he had to dress out close to 200 pounds. He was a big boy.
Yeah.
So
what is it they say? They say multiply by 1.6 is usually, and that's like the weight with all the innards and everything.
Actually, I don't know. You're teaching me something here. I've never even heard of that. So
I went to my butcher a couple of years ago when I shot a deer in my backyard. I asked him, like, hey, obviously this is like, it's gutted. Do you have the approximate weight of what it would be? He goes 1.6 multiplied by 1.6. It's usually about what it ends up being. It's like, oh, okay, cool, man. So just a thing for you.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Yeah. But no, dude, that absolute monster. The video goes into it a little bit, and you guys can watch it a little bit more. But go and follow him, Urban Oaks, on YouTube. Lots of awesome videos. I'm on there.
You are on there.
I made the cut.
I have a feeling that you'll be on there again in the future.
Oh, I like hearing that.
Yeah.
Especially with your 200 acres and 170 inch deer.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So it took you a while to get this particular property. It took you a while to end up with the 200 plus acres that you have the ability to go and hunt. What you went into this a little bit. If you were to narrow down and just kind of give people an idea, how long did it take you to be having the access that you do to hunting, to the properties that you have? And then how much work did that take? Because I think that's the thing that scares most people away, not just when it comes to hunting, but also business. Is like, I'm going to put it in kind of a way that understand it from a real estate agent, right? Like if I want to go and I want to find somebody who wants to list their house, not somebody who wants to buy, but somebody who wants to list their house.
Yeah.
I have to talk to and have a conversation with, not call, not knock on a door and no one answers. I have to have a conversation about what I want to talk about, which is them selling their home with about 100 people in order for me to get one person to say yes to me, where now my sign is in the front yard. Yeah. And obviously, like you mentioned before, the more tools you have when it comes to that conversation, the higher percentage goes up. Like it might be 6, it might be 12, who knows out of those 100, but on average comes out to about 1 every 100 people that you talk to.
Yeah.
This is probably not all that different. In fact, it's probably worse.
It could be.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you're walking in the backyard with a weapon.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I mean, people have an incentive when they sell their house. Right?
Sure.
Like they're going to make money, or I don't know what else there are other incentives here. I mean, like there's really not much incentive for them to say yes to me.
Mike a little closer.
Yeah. There's really not much incentive for them to say yes to me. So what I have told people, because there's guys who ask me, like, how do you do it? Like, what do you do? You know, like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I do have a process. But I've told them like 1 in 20. Now, it might be higher than that. I don't know the actual metrics, but it's definitely a numbers game. You know, like I've actually told guys this a lot too. Is like you have to open up 100 clams to find one pearl. You just got to put in that work.
Yeah.
And I think the toughest thing is rejection. Nobody likes being rejected. Nobody. And it took me years to feel comfortable with being rejected and not taking it personally. So, I mean, before calling someone, before knocking on a stranger's door, I used to battle with anxiety and just, I would feel my heart start pounding. I would start thinking all these thoughts like, but then I just like got through it and I just kept pushing through it. You know what I mean? And then someone finally said yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it creates this like ecstasy. It creates like this feeling of victory, you know, and it eventually it becomes addicting.
Yeah.
You know? And so you asked me how long it took. I started taking it really seriously probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. So just after COVID, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, like I have my property and I have 4 acres next to my property. My neighbor gave me permission. And then I've got 40 acres that a trailer park gave me permission to hunt. But I just want to be able to like go different places. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think a lot of guys kind of get stuck in one place and like feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if you're kind of like applying that to other areas of life. Like, I don't know. I just want like more. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's greed or it's just like, it's just who I am, but I like to like keep going. And so, you know, this place that I just got permission on, like, dude, it feels like the wild, wild west for me.
Really?
Because I've just focused on one street and there's so much there.
Sure.
You know, so it's going to be fun. But you know, I'll identify an area and then I will take all of the information I learned like Onyx and I'll like create a spreadsheet and I'll like have, like I mentioned that earlier, just like have contacted, not contacted. And then like as a recruiter, I have a lot of experience stalking people.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And being able to find their contact information. So like I'll look up all their contact information. Like I'll look at people's social medias to see if there's anything that I can learn about them prior to approaching them. And this sounds really creepy, but it works.
No,
you know, like
that's
it works.
It's a sales technique. You ever heard Holmes?
I've not.
Holmes.
No.
So, and I'm getting it. It's losing my mind now. So, oh gosh. So whenever it is that we walk into a house, we do the exact same thing. And I think it's Holmes. I'm getting it mixed up. Dreams, reality. Oh my gosh.
Does it give you like data or something?
No, it doesn't give you data, but you're going into it with the mindset of I'm looking through the lens of these 4 things.
Like, it's a strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
is it an acronym?
It is an acronym, and I think it's Holmes. HOME. Is it HOME? Dreams, occupation, dreams. Oh my gosh, I teach people this, and I'm forgetting it. They just put me on the spot, put myself on the spot. But yeah, you're going into basically just going like, hey, what do you enjoy doing? Like, what are your activities? What are you a golfer? Do you guys travel to Colorado every now and then? Like. And it's not a means of like, I'm knocking on your door and going, hey, I saw it was your 33-year-old's birthday the other day. No. That's not, that's weird. I'm with you.
Sure.
It's more of a, yeah, no, do you guys have kids? Like, I can understand. I've got kids too. You already know in the back of your mind, this person has kids that I'm knocking on the door because I looked at their Facebook page.
Yep.
And I know, hey, no, I'm doing this safe. I've got children too. I'd like to bring my kids out here. This is going to be like, you've got another tool in the tool belt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Because it disarms people.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like I try not to, as soon as they open the door, say, hey, can I go hunting on your property?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like going for a kiss on the first date. Like you gotta get to man. You gotta get to know her a little bit.
Sure.
You know? So I had a really cool conversation with an older gentleman this past summer. And I knocked on the door and I said, "How you doing today?" And he was like, "Come take a seat on the porch with me." And we literally just talked for 20 minutes and I didn't even say anything about hunting. And that's why I was there.
Yeah.
But I just got to know him. And it was one of the coolest experiences that I've had doing this. And he ultimately said no to me.
Yeah.
But like I consider him like a friend now.
Sure.
You know? It's cool.
Yeah.
And he gave me permission to put a camera on his property.
Okay.
Which was key, you know, actually shooting that buck. But it was really cool just like to get to know him. And the old gentleman just has all this wisdom in life. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I looked it up. It's FORD.
Ford
is the acronym. Yeah. Family, Occupation, Recreation, Dreams.
Got it.
Family, Occupation, Recreation, Dreams. And so, like, just to give you an idea of like practically how this works for me or any salespeople out there, what you do or how you could use this. When I'm walking to a house, every single time when I'm sitting down with somebody, I'm having a conversation. I'm hey, it's different for me than it is hunting, where like I ask for a tour of their home.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm seeing pictures of family and their kids and things like that. Oh, how old's your granddaughter? Or how old's your son or whatever? Occupation. What do you do for a living? It's literally just asking, oh, I'm an engineer at Ford, or I'm a doctor at Royal Oak Beaumont, or whatever it is. Recreation. I noticed that you have some golf clubs sitting in the garage. Do you golf? I noticed that you have a gun safe sitting down in the basement. Are you a big avid hunter? What do you do? What do you have?
Yeah.
And then dreams, where is it that you're planning on going with? You plan on selling your house. Why?
Yeah.
You've got a nice home. You're in Rochester. You're in Macomb County. You're in, Shelby, whatever it is. Why are you moving? Well, we want to get to our grandkids over in Tennessee. Like,
Yep.
Okay, well, there's a goal. There's a goal for this. And it's not a means of using it as a means of pinning somebody against it, but I legitimately want to get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an easy way for me to be able to do that.
Yeah. People need help making decisions too. You
For
know
sure.
what I mean?
For
And
sure.
I think that that's one of the most valuable things about an agent is they can help kind of like, okay, I know who you are. I know what you're looking for. I know what you want. At some point we do got to pull the trigger though.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like very valuable too, is you can help kind of consult them and walk them through whether or not, buying or selling is a good idea.
Right.
And how it will help them reach their dreams or their motivations, whatever.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being somebody who works in sales, this is the last question I want to ask you, because I know you probably want to go get in the woods again, but how has your experiences, the things that you've learned, whether it's in the woods filming, just getting away and relaxing for a little bit, building relationship with your family and your kids, knocking on doors and learning how to talk to people in such a way so that they say yes to you. How has getting out in the woods, doing the things you're doing with Urban Oaks, urban hunting, how has that helped you with your business and your with recruiting and being able to do things well for people?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is talking about like having anxiety, just like walking up to a stranger's house. I think that I've just grown a ton, just to be able to understand that if you like put a process in place and you've got all these tools and you just follow it and just kind of push through it, you're gonna grow and you're gonna see results. And I said earlier, like you're gonna get rejection, like people are gonna say no to you.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is for every rejection that I receive, like what I've taught myself is like I'm one step closer to victory. Like I'm one step closer to like having someone say yes. And I've convinced myself that it's just part of the process. Like you've got to go through these rejections.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a yes eventually. And so it's cool. It's very applicable to not just like, my professional life, but just life in general. I had a very big property that I got permission on last year. It was huge and probably one of the biggest vacant parcels in Macomb County. I think it's 60 acres.
Yeah.
And I got to hunt it a couple times, but the neighbors who live right there found out I was hunting there and basically put a ton of pressure on this company to revoke my permission. And the company did. They revoked my permission. And it was so like sad and like depressing at the time. But I remember, after kind of sulking for a day, the next day I was like, you know what, this is going to like open up another opportunity. That's the way I need to look at it. I just need to accept it and like move on.
Mm-hmm.
And then this property opened up and this area opened up and I just went after it. And it like, I took that thing that could have been very discouraging and I used it as motivation to look elsewhere and to move on. And it worked, you know? And so being able to use that in my life is really cool.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. Any final like words of wisdom from the Colton Orr?
For guys that are super into hunting or whatever like your hobby is, just make sure you appreciate your wife.
Sure.
I think that's what makes it work really well. And she's actually calling me right now.
Okay.
So she must know.
Yeah.
I'm
She must
talking
know.
about her.
I love it. No, that's a good thing. It helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
That's for sure. But dude, thanks so much for coming in today.
Yeah,
making
man,
this
is awesome. It's fun.
priority and doing this. Hopefully I have you on again. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Show 180 inch deer. 179 and a half.
Yes, exactly.
No, I love it, dude. It's honestly very thankful that you took the time to come in today and be a part of this. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for turkey season. It makes me
a few more
pumped to get
months.
outside. Yeah.
It's like a 10-minute season though for you.
Right. Yeah. It ends quick.
Yeah.
But no, thankful for you guys too for checking out today's video. Go like and subscribe this guy's YouTube channel, Urban Oaks. It's on YouTube. Follow what it is he's doing. He's got a lot of videos up for you to pay attention to, listen to, and kind of follow his journey of some of the deer that he's hunting, and some of his processes too, and what it is that how it is that he goes about this. So very thankful for you guys. Be excited. Right around the corner is November 15th, and hopefully all of you out there who are hunters are able to fill your freezers. So thank you. Thankful for you. Besides that, you guys have a blessed day. We'll be seeing you.